continuar después de la pausa de café. Como estáis todos viendo en la pantalla, ahora viene la presentación de Christophe Zehnacker de MasterCard. Él va a hablar de Leading in Digital, Crafting the Future of Payments. Espero que hayáis podido, quien no quiera seguir la presentación en inglés, haceros con los auriculares para la traducción simultánea. Y yo, sin más, le voy a ceder ya la palabra. Así quiero decir una cosa. Recordad que tenemos el hashtag activo, MCCES14, con la almohadilla. Está funcionando bastante bien. No hemos conseguido todavía ser trending topic. Estamos en el empeño. Y de todas maneras debe haber mucho movimiento y debe haber muchas cosas interesantes en relación con las ponencias y en relación con lo que la gente está poniendo en Twitter, porque se han puesto en contacto con nosotros del diario Expansión para preguntarnos qué estaba pasando aquí, que es una cosa muy periodística, no saber lo que pasa hasta que pasa. Así somos los periodistas, un océano de sabiduría de esta profundidad. Bueno, Christophe, te cedo la palabra y los textos y adelante.
Good morning. So thank you very much for the kind introduction. And I apologize again. This presentation is going to be delivered in English, so I very much apologize for that. But it's a real pleasure for me to be with you this morning. So I'm responsible for emerging payments in MasterCard for the Western European division. So in emerging payments, basically, we're really trying to build the future of payments and look at what's going to come next after plastic, because there is a world beyond plastic that we're all working on intensely these days. And this is basically the topic of my presentation. I would like to share with you a little bit how we view the future of payments and what we're doing to enhance the lives of consumers and merchants going forward. So, but for sure, if you look around you today, the way that we're paying is already changing. The change has already started. And there's going to be a profound further change in the way people buy for the goods when they're in store or when they're buying for things online. And this is certainly very interesting days for us in the payments industry, how we can actually make those consumers' lives easier going forward. But before I actually start in the presentation, what I would like to do is actually share with you a little bit of the news that you probably picked up over the last couple of months, actually. So some of that news, and maybe even today, in fact, we made an announcement about 45 minutes ago that you're the very first to hear about. There was a press release, and that's the last point I will talk about here. And I'm pleased to share that news with you as well. So the first news that you probably picked up about a couple of months ago is that in London, Transport for London has now opened its reader to contactless technology from the payment schemes, which means that when you're carrying a MasterCard card or you have your mobile phone, with your MasterCard digital payment card enabled in the mobile phone, you can simply tap and go as you enter the tube. And the great news about this announcement is that the consumer always wins because he gets the best fare. So basically, you tap in and you tap out when you exit the tube, and you always get the best fare. And TfL can now worry about moving people, which is their core business, and worry a little bit less about the payments, of course. So that was a great piece of news, we think. In fact, the first week when they opened the service in London, there was 1 million users, 1 million transactions, in fact, that made payments using their MasterCard or other brand payment cards on TfL. So it shows really how people are quickly embracing the technology and using their daily payment cards to also pay for the transit. Another news that we made about a couple of months ago was that MasterCard has set a mandate or a deadline for all the terminals in the industry in Europe to become contactless enabled by 2020. So within the next 5 years or so, we will be working with our partners to help upgrade the payment terminal to contactless technology over the next 5 years. And the new terminals, every new merchant that places a new terminal or a replacement terminal from the 1st of January 2016 will need to be contactless enabled as well. So that will help drive contactless payments into the market as well. You all have heard about Apple Pay. Fantastic announcement, because that was the last iconic brand that really made that decision to support NFC contactless payment technology. Everybody was waiting. When is Apple coming? When is Apple coming? Over the last 3 or 4 years, I remember this question is always coming back. And now they've made the announcement, and they've made it in, of course, such a nice, user-friendly way that you've read and heard about is so simple to make an Apple Pay payment. That's the adoption. Again, I think they had over 1 million downloads the first week of the payment cards going into the Apple Pay device of the first week. So it shows how quickly such a company can move and can help really deliver such great user experiences to the consumers. Another announcement that we made as MasterCard is that we announced Masterpass in-app payments. So Masterpass in-app payment, you probably have heard about Masterpass, which is our digital acceptance brand for digital payments beyond plastic. And what we have announced a couple of months ago is that through Masterpass now, when you have a Masterpass wallet, you're able to pair the Masterpass wallet with the merchant application so that the next time you go back, for example, Adolfo Dominguez was a great example, a fantastic application that I just saw. You could pair your Masterpass wallet with that application, and the next time you go back, you log on, and that's it. You don't have to do anything more. It's a one-click checkout kind of experience. So what really you're trying to do here is to remain humble and try really to focus on what the consumer really expects. And what the consumer really expects is a better shopping experience. The consumer don't want another wallet. They don't want another wallet. They want those digital shortcuts, those better experiences when they shop. They don't want to worry about the payments. And what we're focusing on is really through Masterpass, in-app Masterpass, is to make that payment experience much easier and to take the pain out of payments. Okay? Now the last announcement here. Actually, it was just announced 45 minutes ago. You all heard about 3DS, right? So 3DS was invented a few years ago when e-commerce transactions were dominating. Mobile commerce was nowhere where it is today. And that e-commerce was basically using browser-based experiences, right? We know that 3DS today is becoming a little bit difficult, I would say, and is not well adapted to the changing environment with mobile payment application and digital wallets. So what this new 3DS version 2.0 that we have co-created with Visa, what this will deliver is basically a move away from static passwords and the adoption, for example, of biometric technology, such as fingerprint, such as voice recognition, and one-time passwords, and risk-based authentication to make, again, the shopping experience for the consumer much easier. So what we want to do is to move away from static passwords, which are vulnerable, and move away from that over the next few years. Of course, 3DS version 1 will probably remain for another few years, but we're building the future of authentication with 3DS 2.0, and you will probably read more about this in the press. Okay? So those are some of the announcements that I'm happy to share with you. There were additional ones about tokenization, which I'm also sure that you heard about, and that I'm happy to share a little bit more with you during the presentation. So what I'd like to cover in the short 30 minutes that I have with you this morning is, first of all, explaining again what we're seeing around digital shift. You know, what's happening in the marketplace towards this transformation towards digital payments, changing shopping experiences, also some great merchant applications that are coming now to the market. Uber, I saw that there was a promotion on Uber. It's a fantastic taxi application where you can just order your car. And we have other examples like that, basically, and I will show some of those examples. The growth of NFC also is something that we're seeing. So this is still physical world using good old technology that we have today with plastic cards, but not just the plastic, it's the mobile phone as well. So yes, there's been a lot of discussions in the industry about the mobile phone is going to replace the plastic card, and that's going to come overnight. And then the next year, we're saying the same thing, and it didn't happen, and then it didn't happen. But now we really are profoundly believing that this is the time when mobile NFC payments are about to happen for a number of reasons that I will explain in the presentation. The Apple Pay and how MasterCard has actually made Apple Pay a reality for payments is what I would like to talk about as well. And finally, about Masterpass, which I believe my colleague Paloma Real explained to you last year at last year's conference. I'd like to give you a short update about Masterpass, where we are, and what's next with Masterpass, basically. Okay? I think we'll have a few minutes at the end to take questions, so if you would like to keep your questions to the end, that would be great. So the first thing that I think everybody already realizes is that the whole world is being transitioned by the fact that there are more and more connected devices to the internet. If you look at the graph on the right-hand side here, you can see that beyond the usual smartphones and tablets and smart TVs, we now also see wearables connected to the internet. And what we see here, Internet of Things. So your washing machines, your system at the home, to regulate the temperature, whatever, your shoes maybe one day, I don't know, but everything is becoming connected to the internet, right? So that certainly is a reality that we face today, and what we believe is that every one of these internet-connected devices could one day become a commerce device, okay? So in order to make this happen, we need to find easy solutions. We were discussing with a huge appliance manufacturer a few months ago in the United States. Their idea is that this appliance manufacturer is selling washing machines, amongst other things. And their idea is that there are some people in the population that instead of buying a 1,000 euro washing machine, spending all this money, they would prefer to maybe lease it and pay by the load. So whenever they use the washing machine, they'll pay 20 cents or whatever. And there are people in the population that would prefer that model. So they're thinking, how do we get, of course, those washing machines connected to the internet they're working on, but how do we get the payment to work? So that's a reality today. That's what we start seeing. But if you look now at the growth, I mean, today we're around 12 billion connected devices on the planet. That will grow to 50 billion by 2020. So it's an amazing growth, and we'll have to be ready to capture the opportunity thanks to that. So commerce basically is changing. And as I said, every one of these devices is becoming a shopping device. And from the consumer point of view, I just want to emphasize again what I said earlier, is that consumers don't want another digital wallet. They want better experiences, and they want these digital shortcuts. So what's MasterCard doing to enable these digital shortcuts, you may ask? So that's what I will tell you in a few minutes. But if you look at the trends once again, look at where we could be in 3 years from now. And this is coming from Forbes that quoted IDC research. Look at the growing importance of mobile commerce over PC-based commerce. If you look at PC-based commerce on the right-hand side by 2017, it will be a tiny portion. It will only represent anymore 13% of all e-commerce. So it's really a tiny proportion. If you look at tablets, 470 million, and then the smartphones, it's a huge opportunity here. And I'm not even looking at other internet-connected devices here. And also the growth of shopping applications. You know about it. It's absolutely huge and happening as we speak. So if you look at Europe as a whole, above 50% of all smartphone owners in Europe already have downloaded mobile shopping applications, and above 50% of those have already used one or more of these applications or per month, actually. So this is, again, a reality. It's the app world getting developed around us. And once again here, these apps are looking also to have the payment functionality integrated within them. So before we go further, it's always important, again, to keep in mind what the consumer really expects. So, and how is the consumer evolving in their daily life? So the first thing, they're becoming increasingly sophisticated. They're connected 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And this picture on the right-hand side here is probably looking more and more familiar in your own families today. We're connected on 24 hours a day. Some people are actually sleeping with their phones next to them. I'm not doing that. But if I leave my home in the morning without my smartphone, I will know about it within minutes, and I'll go back to get it, because it will be quite an uncomfortable day if I don't have my mobile phone with myself. So this is the reality of today's world, basically. So the expectations and the preferences from these consumers are really accelerating towards the adoption of those digital payments. And what they're expecting out of that is really simpler ways of paying, once again. So now let's look at the merchant side. So the merchants want to address consumers regardless of the channel. They have multiple channels, and we've seen great presentations before that. So this digital convergence, as you saw earlier today, is already happening today. Starbucks has been extremely successful mobile payment application linked with some loyalty functions. The Uber I mean, I don't know if you ever experienced Uber. I actually used it for the first time yesterday in Stockholm. It was so easy. I mean, I have the application. I've got my corporate MasterCard and my personal MasterCard loaded. I ordered the car. It came within about 4 or 5 minutes. There was a picture of the driver on my phone. Could see his name. And he's got my contact number if he needs to contact me for whatever reason. He stops, drops me off at my location. I get the best fare. And about 15 minutes later, I get an email with the receipt. So it was just a fantastic experience. So it is what consumers are really asking for today. And maybe another interesting experience, maybe that you haven't seen, but it's in the United States with Hointer. It's a store selling jeans, actually. And maybe I'll show you exactly how they've tried to be a bit disruptive in trying to change the way people shop for jeans in their store. So basically, you download the Hointer application here. You scan, you see that little 3D barcode over here on the jeans. You scan the item that you like. You can scan several of them, of course. You choose your size. Okay, I would like to try that model, and I'm wearing size 32 here. Then I'm finished with my selection. I would like to try those 3 jeans. I go to fitting room number 3. I get that notification on my phone. Next thing is I go there. Those 3 sizes that I wanted to try are waiting for me. I mean, there is a little bin there. I try them on. If they don't fit, I don't like them, I toss them back into the bin. And the one I keep, I simply buy within the changing cabin. I just buy there. Now, that's a hell of a shopping experience, I think. So this is quite creative, and it's really taken the hassle of shopping for clothing, I think. But that's just another example, basically, of how those shopping experiences are changing, and our merchants are really finding creative ways to make that experience a whole better. So in terms of MasterCard, what's really our vision there? Our vision is that, once again, we try to create these digital shortcuts, and what we try to build in MasterCard are solutions for consumers and merchants that address the different kinds of environments, whether it's shopping at home, whether it's shopping in the store, or whether it's shopping on the go. So on the go, I mean, of course, store window shopping, for example. You're at the bus stop, and you want to buy your ticket at the bus stop, for example. The in-store is also quite an interesting one, because most people, when they have adopted contactless, it's already great, because it's much faster than traditional chip and PIN payments. However, wouldn't it be much better just altogether to beat the line and not having to stand in line even to tap the phone? It's better even just to pay while you're in store and make that in-aisle payment, and you just walk out of the store and get that TV delivered to your home. That's exactly what we're aiming for with our MasterPass solution here. So that's really our vision, is one user experience regardless of the environment where they are. So that digital infrastructure is what we're building as we speak. And with that solution, which is an open solution of MasterPass, we're addressing different use cases, tap and go, through mobile phones, of course, the in-aisle payment that I just referred to, but also the in-app experience that we announced about a couple of months ago with MasterPass, and the traditional online shopping. So that's all, I would say, those shortcuts that we're building to make, again, the lives of the consumers and merchants alike much easier. Before I talk a bit more about in-app and MasterPass, again, I think we should spend a little bit more time to reflect on the evolution of NFC and contactless payments, because I think Spain, by the way, is a fantastic market, because it's one of the most advanced markets in terms of terminalization already. The number of terminals supporting contactless payments in Spain is far greater than some other countries, and it is evolving very rapidly. So if you look at beyond Europe, in fact, in Australia, there is one retailer called Coles. And today at Coles, which is a huge retailer, like El Corte Inglés in this country, a similar kind of retailer, 60% of their transactions at Coles today are contactless already. And in Australia, which has become one of the world's largest contactless market, that has resulted in a 16% decrease in cash payments. So quite interesting way that as expected, contactless payments are taking the cash out of the system, and again, having more efficient kinds of payments. So what we also found out is in markets like Australia is that those that have cards with contactless technology enabled also are more likely to use their mobile phone to pay contactlessly. And that's what we're seeing increasingly in more and more markets. Also, if you think about other markets like Poland and Czech Republic, that's not just one retailer. In those countries, every 1 in 2 transaction is tapped today. So the adoption of contactless is becoming a reality, and that's why we decided to adopt this migration mandate for 2020, because we have a profound belief that this will arrive in the market, and also through mobile NFC devices. Okay? In fact, in Europe, we have 36 countries. That's Q2 data, so we should have more now. Globally, it's 66 countries from Q2 this year that are contactless enabled. And in terms of number of merchants, okay, it's 2.5 million. It's not the 36 million merchants that we have today or more, but it's growing extremely, extremely fast. And once again, when you also combine and include transit into the contactless payments, then you have a winning opportunity here. And that's what we've seen with, in London. In fact, it was interesting. When I came to London after they opened that, I used my mobile device just to try it. You know, I was there going to the MasterCard office in London. I tapped my phone, the gate opened, and the guy right next door just ran into the barrier because he was so amazed that I just used my phone to pay. Anyways, so this is just a reality. It is happening around us. And the NFC also, there was for a long time debate, when is NFC coming? Is it really a reality, etc. But look at this figure. By 2018, 2 in 3 smartphones will support the NFC. And now with, of course, with Apple Pay and the iPhone 6 device being NFC enabled, again, that's going to reinforce that trend. So the shipment of NFC devices is increasing by 4 over the next 5 years, and it's just a reality. You're all probably already equipped, most of you, with such smartphones in your pockets or bags. But what's been kind of an interesting evolution is that until recently, there was only one option of delivering those secure credentials to the mobile handset to enable these NFC payments, and that was going through a mobile network operator, where the bank would actually lease space from that chip to put the bank credentials onto that chip, and so that you could have the same level of security as your plastic bank card today. Well, what's happened is that things have evolved, and now you have different ways of doing that as well. We still believe there is an opportunity with the MNOs in some markets. We've been quite successful in Poland and in other countries to implement that model. But we have additional models now possible as well. The secure element, which is what Apple is doing. Samsung did that even a little bit earlier with the Samsung Galaxy S4 that they launched in Australia. We have some banks in Europe, in Russia, in the Netherlands, also going for the embedded secure element, Samsung, for example. But the last one is the cloud NFC. So cloud NFC is an interesting way because we are able to maintain the security of the system, but not, I mean, the bank doesn't have a dependency on an operator or on a device manufacturer to make the NFC payment a reality. And that cloud NFC is now becoming a reality. And I think in this market, in Spain, there is a lot of interest for this solution here. And we could see, certainly, the first implementation of that over the next few weeks and months. In fact, we started the first pilot with Banco Sabadell in Spain, around the Barcelona area a few months ago. And, of course, there is a lot of expectation that this could be quite an interesting solution that will be deployed in this market over the next few months. Apple Pay is obviously the latest announcement. I don't know if you have seen the user experience of this. Probably maybe not unless you've been fortunate enough to go to the US. But it's a fantastic user experience. Basically, when you put your iPhone 6 next to the merchant contactless reader, the phone wakes up because it detects the antenna of the reader. It wakes up. You only put your finger and you tap your phone and you're done. There is nothing more to be done. It's a biometric verification of the cardholder, basically. No need to enter a PIN. You could set up a PIN still, but most people don't do that. They use the biometric reader. It's so easy. So it comes with 2 use cases, NFC payments, and the other use case is in-app payments. So basically, a merchant will have to implement an Apple API to connect to Apple Pay for in-app payments as well. The thing is, with Apple Pay, the bank card ends up in Passbook, and you will see the bank logo in the Passbook here. what I can also say here is that today this is probably the most secure ever NFC implementation that we've ever done. Because what we're doing with Apple Pay is that we're not using the traditional PAN number, we're using a digital PAN number or a token, which is unique to that particular payment card, to that particular device. And if I'm able, for whatever reason, to steal that token and try to use it for a card-on-file transaction, it will not be usable because the token cannot be used outside of the context of the iPhone, right? So it is the best level of security ever achieved by using tokens, by using the embedded secure elements in the phone, so it cannot be tampered, and using biometrics as an easy way to recognizing the consumer here. It's really a fantastic experience. So why do we believe, and that's the other announcement that was made a little bit earlier this year through EMVCO, why we're moving towards tokens is simply to increase the security level of payments going forward. We have created the standards with Visa, and basically, Visa and American Express, and basically that allows basically to create that token and store tokens into different endpoints, whether it is a smartphone, whether it's a merchant on file, or whether it's something else. But certainly, every single device, so if I'm at home, I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, I have a PC, every one of these devices will get a different token, and once again, to guarantee the security of the system. And what we're doing as a payment scheme is providing a solution for the banks to actually translate the token back to the original PAN number. So in Apple Pay, for example, the banks, they didn't have to go to Apple. They connected to MasterCard for the MasterCard cards. And basically, we're providing all this tokenization service on behalf of the bank, and we're sending the token to the Apple Secure element ourselves. The bank is providing us with the logo, their logo, and we're sending the logo to the Apple Pay, to the Passbook device. So the bank doesn't have to worry much about it. It's very, very slick and very easy to do that. Okay, so moving on. Beyond NFC, I just wanted to share a few minutes again about MasterPass. MasterPass is our digital payment solution that will really cross these different payment channels, not just in-store, but we're starting with MasterPass online, actually. So we have today launched MasterPass in a number of countries. I think it's over 10 now. 10 was a few weeks ago. Maybe it's more now. The US was the first market. In the UK, we just onboarded another 24,000 merchants last week behind a big PSP. And I think globally, we have about 60,000 merchants now that support the MasterPass button. And again, from a user experience, it's a single brand, global brand, same user experience, whether they shop. So if you have a lot of shoppers that shop not just on Spanish websites, but also on international websites, certainly MasterPass is what we see is the future of payments. And again, not only for online shopping, but also for in-app shopping. That's quite important to remember, that we have an in-app shopping experience with MasterPass. Okay, so with that, again, this is growing very fast. And beyond the in-app and the online part of MasterPass, the next step is to bring it in-store. Okay, and the way we're going to do this, for example, is through this cloud NFC solution. Today, we're supporting not only NFC payments with our mobile cloud-based payment solution, but that same wallet application can also be used online. But the missing piece that we're building is the merchant interface to support that from the same wallet. And that will be available in the early part of next year. So again, our vision is to build that unique wallet for the buyers, for the consumers, that can use the same solution, whether they're shopping online, in-store, or in-app. That's certainly what we're delivering. And that's what we're trying to show over here on this slide. So you can see that we are providing digital enablement services, again, to create these tokens, because we need better security in the overall payment scheme. These digital wallets, again, we have had a very open approach in terms of saying that the hosting of wallets can be done either as an on-behalf service by MasterCard, or it could be done by partners. So the partner can deliver that wallet and connect our MasterPass switch, basically. And one the financial institution or another business uses Masterpass to connect to our switch, basically, they will be able to transact in different ways, different channels, whether it's online, whether it's in-app, in-store remote, or in the future as well at the point of sale. So that's what we're looking at. And just to finalize the presentation, because I believe my time is up, I will show you a quick inspirational video about the future of payments. But I would like to thank you again for your attention. Yeah. Sure.
I've never had a lover like you, a guiding voice on.
Shopping. Help. So I really like this, but I need it today.
No problem. Oh, but according to your public network, your friend Ellen already owns this. Maybe try this instead.
That's perfect, thanks. Checkout.
Okay, so do you have any more questions on that section?
Wait, there's 4 fundamental forces, right?
Yeah, gravity, strong nuclear, weak nuclear, and hold on.
Hey everybody, we just booked a last-minute show at the Imperial tonight. It's all sold out, but MasterCard is hooking us up with a few extra tickets for our fans. So act quickly and we'll see you tonight.
You want to go?
Definitely.
Let me give you your ticket.
Great. Here's my share.
Thanks. Wonder if anyone else is going. Hey, you're going to the show tonight?
Hey, yeah, I'm actually starting a group bid for one of the t-shirts right now. You guys want to join?
I'll do it.
How much are they selling them for?
$35, but I'm bidding 20. If we could get like 100 people to join, I think they'll probably take it.
Yeah, I'm in. Great. We should get going.
Meet you at 7?
Sounds great.
Sounds okay. I mean, can we get something with more of like a British sound, you think? So much better. Showtime.
It just started. Let's go.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention. I think we have time for questions.
Yes. Thank you very much, Christophe.
Thank you.
For your speech. Thank you and congratulations. You have produced a lot of tweets with our hashtag about your joint venture with Apple Pay, about the disturbing news about the e-commerce. This is very interesting too. And about MasterPass and the MVIS technology. ¿Alguna pregunta para Christophe? ¿Alguien se anima a formularle
And
alguna pregunta?
Maybe just to say on the last announcement
Yes.
that we just made about an hour ago. So this is really, just to explain, the static passwords are vulnerable, okay, vulnerable. And the idea is that we don't want to remember to identify people for what they remember, but by who they are.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to achieve, just to clarify what we announced a few minutes ago.
This is a very interesting corporative video. One question.
Hi, Christopher. Here.
Okay, ask the question.
Okay, I have a question. Which kind of partners do you need to develop or to face the future and those trends that you were talking about, especially or specifically those partners who can help you create best consumer experiences?
Thank you.
Right. So which partners are we looking for is your
Yes.
question? So, okay, I'll just give you an example. Multiple partner types. So if you look at the MasterPass solution, for example, as I said, MasterPass can be hosted by the customer bank. We're working with other companies like Worldline, for example, or others, I can mention others, simply to develop a MasterPass digital wallet that will connect to our switch. Simply because, again, we don't see ourselves of getting into the way of providing an on-behalf service for the whole world. That's not how we see the world. The way we see the world is that we want to facilitate commerce and to bringing more and more partners to connect to that switch to make that connection between the merchant and the digital wallet. Then the rest happens as it does today. The transaction gets authorized the same way as it does today. That's been our approach from the start with MasterPass. So just as an example, then we have partners around NFC as well for the NFC ecosystem. For example, we announced a mobile cloud-based payment solution. We're working with a number of companies to address the needs of Spain, for example, to bring that solution into Spain because we don't, I would say, see ourselves as being the only provider of an on-behalf service. We, with our MDES service, the MasterCard Digital Enablement Service that connects to Apple Pay, we believe we have good arguments and we will have a great service to deliver to this market because we can connect not only to Apple, but we will be able to connect to other endpoints in the future that I cannot talk about. But so this is going to come as well. But again, we don't want to block the market and saying, you just have to use our solution. No, we want to work with other partners as well.
Thank you very much.
Another question? I can't believe it. If he speaks about the new projects with other clients, he has to kill us after. Better not. Aquí. Allí.
Hi,
Hola.
good morning. I would like to know, because as you know, the U.S. market has now a migration of the EMV, and I don't know how this affects to this migration, because with this type of payments, you have to check by biometrics and all of that, and nowadays the U.S. market, they only have to sign. So.
Absolutely, absolutely true. So I think the question is, how will the U.S. markets evolve towards the adoption of those technologies? Is that your question?
Yes, because nowadays they have to migrate to EMV
Yes, absolutely.
cards, but I don't know if this will be a standby and they migrate to the new ways of payment.
No, absolutely. So what I should say about the U.S. market is true that what we've witnessed in the press, it's not a surprise to anyone that there have been a lot of attacks, I would say. You've heard about some retailer breaches. I don't want to mention their names again, but where hackers were able to steal card data, etc., and then run fraudulent transactions using those huge number of compromised card credentials. So there have been a lot of attacks in the U.S. market, and a realization in that market that they need to increase the security level in general. So there's been pressure from the U.S. government by Obama that has actually set a decree for the migration of the MaxRep cards to EMV cards. Just one of the approach that the banks are taking for the physical world, but also tokenization. Why the banks really like this Apple Pay solution? It's the best security you can ever imagine. A token per card per device and storing that in an embedded secure element. So it's a combination of all that we'll see. I don't think plastic will disappear tomorrow in 2015, but certainly in the future, over the next 3 to 5 years, the share of these mobile types of payments will increase dramatically, and there will be a time, I think, where plastic will become obsolete, of course. But I think today in the US, they have, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of plastic cards. And to stop the frauds problem, they are migrating to EMV. At the same time, there are already a number, I think a few hundreds of thousands of merchants equipped with contactless readers as well, where Apple Pay is already accepted. So it's in that I would say, direction that the banks are taking in the US.
One question more, the last one. The microphone. Aquí. La segunda fila.
Hi. I have a question about the business model related to the Apple Pay. I mean, the bank or the user have to pay a fee for each token or a payment with a mobile?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
And as I'm sure you know, I'm not allowed to disclose any business model information. I'm sorry. This is really Apple proprietary information, and I'll get sacked. So I'm sorry, I cannot share that information.
You have to call to Cupertino?
You have to call Cupertino. And by the way, that may not be applicable if one day Apple Pay comes to Spain. They might have a different kind of pricing level or business model. We don't know. So unfortunately, I cannot respond to that question. If you read the press, you'll find a lot of information in the press. I'm sorry.
In the next notes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Christophe.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.